Hello again and welcome back to the Front Row, a minor production of the First Congregational Church in South Pekin, where our intent is to bring snippets from our Sunday morning message into your week. This week we are talking about the spiritual discipline of study. Yes, it is Holy Week. This is all recorded on Palm Sunday. We are heading into the highest point on the church calendar, but there is a tie back to why we are looking into and continuing our conversation around the spiritual disciplines, particularly the spiritual discipline of study. Yesterday we talked about the why. Today we're going to talk about the how, and tomorrow we're going to talk about what to study. But I want to back up just a little bit and define what our author Richard Foster considers to be study. He says that study is a specific kind of experience. So it's something we do in which, through careful attention to reality, so what are we going to focus on? We're going to focus on that which is a reality, not just hearsay, not just bias, not just what we think, but the reality of the situation. And through that careful attention to reality, the mind is enabled to move in a certain direction. So it is directing the mind down a particular path based on a careful observance of a particular reality. So we have control over what we study and where we are directing our minds. That's why Paul told the church in Philippi, whatever is true, noble, right, pure, etc. We understand that transformation happens in our lives through the renewing of our mind, according to what Paul said to the Romans in Romans 12:2. And we understand by what Jesus said, of course, we referred to this yesterday, that by understanding and obeying his teaching, we will know the truth, and that truth can set us free. And so study is the intentionality that brings us, it directs our mind down a particular path. So how do we do that? How do we study? What does it look like? Now, this can get very technical, and I want to be careful of it, but I want to first draw attention to why it's important to know how to study. When I grew up in my school days, I was never taught how to study. Just go over there and read that thing and learn it. And I mean, I had teachers and I had parents that cared. I had all that stuff, yes. But I never really was taught how to study. And there is a technique to it. It is not just reading. It is so much more than reading. It's kind of like the exercise we used to do where, and usually done with kids, but we can do it with adults as well, to sit down and give a step-by-step process for how to do a common thing, like brushing your teeth. And when you do a step-by-step process of something that we all inherently feel like we know how to do, I guarantee you we're missing some steps. And if somebody pretended ignorance and objectively went through your step process, they're not going to be able to brush their teeth. Not on first go around. Because we assume some things when we go through this idea of defining a process that seems so inherent. And study is like that. This concept of study, we think we know what it is, but we don't really know what it is unless you've been taught how to study. And our author spends considerable time in this chapter unpacking all the details of what it means to actually study. How do you study? Now, I'm not going to go through them all because that's what made this week's message a bulk of its length. So it would take just too long in this video and these short snippets to explain it. But I do want to leave you with this thought, that if you have not specifically learned how to study something, then chances are you don't know how to study. And I freely admit that I don't know how to study. And I have to learn how to be better at this discipline of study. I will leave you with one thought. That yeah, there are components to it, and there's intrinsic and extrinsic things that we've got to consider. And there are actually 4 steps to ways to study something. But at the core of it, the spirit of study must flow out of humility. We don't learn anything unless we admit that we have to learn something. True study and learning and development and transformation flows out of a spirit of humility. I don't know everything. And if we start getting into a subject, oh, I know that. I got that. That kind of mindset cannot learn. True, deep humility. Even in a subject that you think you know a lot about, if you really want to learn more, you have to enter into it with a spirit of humility, take in everything objectively, look at all the things that are being presented, and then process it. But don't make an early judgment, oh, I got that, I got that, I got that. You will never learn. We've all seen that in action. So there is a process to this discipline of study, and I encourage you to take some time to learn it. Maybe go back and listen to the entire message that's available out on our YouTube page. But for now, we're going to call it a day. Blessings to you. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye-bye for now.